What is it that is kind of like the bedrock thing that makes coaches just crush it, right? Like, how do we position ourselves? How do we set things up? How do we approach the business community, prospects, those who, we want to engage with? What does that look like? That's what we're going to discuss on this quick training here in Orlando this week at a John Maxwell event. And this has kind of just been on my heart. I actually talk about this very thing quite often. It's one of the number one things I talk about probably 70% of the time, because it's the foundational piece. It really is that moves everything, that everything flows from it. And when you miss this as a coach, it kind of can sabotage the rest of the process. So that's why it's important that you have it down. So there's three areas that you got to solve in coaching. Where do I find leads and prospects? That's where do I build relationships? How do I convert those leads and prospects into ongoing, high-paying monthly clients? And then the third, how do I coach with simplicity? Very important that your coaching process is simple. The last thing that you could do is to add more complication and overwhelm to an already likely overwhelmed individual, that being a business owner. But here's the strategy. Here's the common thread that weaves through all three of those principles and can change everything for you. And that is you setting yourself up in your business community, whether that's local or abroad, as the guide, the strategist that's helping business owners get to what we call aha moments and light bulb moments. So think about it this way. A mistake that a lot of coaches make. We'll use the example of, let's say that if you were a business owner and I met you at a business event. I'm at a business event right now at a conference. If I were to meet somebody, it's very common of the mistake that coaches will make is that they'll jump right into something that has to do with the coach. For instance, it's like, have you ever worked with a business coach before, right? Well, again, that's all about the business coach. It's not about the business owner. No inherent intrinsic value of helping the business owner themselves. It's just about the business coach. That's a mistake. We don't want to approach people in that manner at all. Otherwise, it becomes very, very challenging. And that's likely what kind of reduces the opportunity and the ability to build a relationship with them, because we've led with what it works and what's going to help me, right? So we don't want to approach people that way. We're going to talk about how to approach them in just a second. Maybe it was a referral. Maybe, through a friend. Let's say that I, learned about you. You're a business owner. I learned it through a friend. It's a referral. And I hit you up and said, hey, Mark. I use that name often, that just as an example for role-playing purposes. Hey, Mark, we know Bill. He sent me your information. I'm just curious. He said that, you've worked with strategists before, but you don't have anybody. What's going on there? Like, have you worked with the strategist before? Have you seen the value of the 5 reasons that why you should hire a business coach, and so on? List goes on and on and on. Maybe I, ended up interacting with you at a chamber event in my local community. Doesn't matter how I got to know you. The approach in the very beginning is the critical piece, and it's all about the right questions. It's all about being able to interact all about them. This is what it would sound like. If your name is Mark and you own a pool cleaning company in Orlando, there's a lot of places that have pools, a lot of residences and commercial places and hotels and whatnot, right? Let's say you own that pool, and it's like, hey, Mark, I'm just curious, what's business like right now? These last 2 or 3 years, a lot of changes, a lot of things going on, inflation, whatever. What's the experience been like, right? We want to let that business owner begin to just share about them. Look, God created us to talk, to communicate. We love to talk about ourselves. It says that it's an important thing that we do, right? And so when we do that, we put them in the position to talk about them. We don't have to say a word about us, even if they were to ask. So what is it that you do? You want to be very careful on how you respond to that, so that it doesn't sound like that you're trying to switch things around and just get them as a client, right? We all want a client. We all need a client. But when we're too eager with that process, it can sabotage everything, and we want to be very cautious and very careful in how we do that. So if I start to just ask you questions, what's the experience like? Through that, here's the strategist. Here is the common thread through the whole thing of you being the guide, of you being the person that's going to shine a light in all the crazy fog of the sea of craziness about business ownership, right? As you begin to explain what's going on, I'm going to be able to pick up upon, you might talk about competitive challenges. You might talk about the increasing cost of labor cost or material cost. You may pick up on the fact that it's been difficult to keep team members around lately. And the list goes on and on. I'm going to then begin to extend those conversations based upon what you're sharing. So if you were to say something like, man, it's been kind of crazy with just all of the inflation, our cost of goods, all those kinds of things. I'm going to say, man, I totally get it. It's very normal. You probably know that in business ownership. When's the last time that you went through a thorough examination and what we call cost mitigation? Like, what's that process look like to you? And when's the last time that you did it, right? So again, I'm asking questions about a strategy designed to get him or her to think about that process. Through that, sometimes they're going to say, well, we did that a little bit ago, whatever. Let me ask you this. Did you go through a thorough step-by-step examination, everything from auditing potential renegotiations with vendors, going through your credit card statements and really reviewing, should we be paying for that? And here's what you're going to probably find. They're like, well, we kind of did it, but probably not as deep as what you're talking about, what you're mentioning. And so what that does, it begins to show strategically that you have a plan. It plants opportunity thoughts. That's the ahas. Like, well, we really haven't done it at that level. That's the big one. When you begin to, you're guiding them through a process, you're sharing with them what's potential, and you're opening up opportunity. That's where they begin to see, wait a minute, there is potential profitable opportunity here. If you were Mark and you own that pool company, you said, man, it's Orlando. There's a pool company and a new pool company on every single corner all the time. And so competition is legit. It's real. It's challenging. We're constantly having to fight to get new business and to keep the current businesses that we have and, so on. And I'll say something like, I hear you. So curious then, what is your current market dominating position? There's a good chance that you, the owner, may say, well, what's that? Uniqueness in your business. Like, why would people be crazy not to do business with you over anybody else? All of the dozens upon dozens of options in this market. Why would they be crazy not to do business with you, right? So this is planting seeds of opportunity, because likely they're going to sit there and go, well, we don't really have, we do this, 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 and this. Okay, cool. Is that totally unique to you, or do other pool companies do the exact same thing? Well, no, they actually do the exact same thing. Okay, so there's not a variable contrast, right, as to why they would choose you. That's why when that happens, all you're going to be able to do is to compete on one variable. And what's the variable? Price, right? So these kinds of conversations, it's not even just about asking the great questions and the right questions. It's about leading them and guiding them to show them why opportunity exists all around them inside their business, and why growth isn't as complicated as they may seem. They may say, but what about costs? It's like, I get it. I know sometimes we struggle to want to pass the expense off to the customer, but the reality is you're running a business and you got to remain profitable. So when is the last time that you increased your prices? And they may say, well, we tried here and there. I'm like, you did it comprehensively that provided value that you didn't lose customers, or did you lose customers when you increased the prices? Well, it's been quite a while, ever since COVID. We just didn't want to hurt people and, didn't want to lose people and so on. So here's the point. When you have a mindset that's all related to being a guide and a strategist, and you're prepared with content to use, that's going to prop you up from day one of the relationships that you're building. We shouldn't, at least in our community, in our business coach mastery community, we don't talk about, how great we are, how many clients we have. We don't need to do that. We want to make the conversation focused all about the business owner, their business, and to show them, give them those light bulbs. Let them just kind of have their own imagination of why it's possible to be able to grow their business. Give them that imagery. We want to help them to recognize what small incremental percentage increases could look like, because that's where growth comes. But that's not going to happen if you don't approach the relationship from day one as the guide, as the strategist. What do we got to do? Remove the verbiage of words about us, not about us. We don't matter right now. We want to learn about them, talk about them, ask questions about them. We don't want to coach them yet. We don't want to correct them yet. We just want to engage and build authenticity into the relationship. They should never feel like we're trying to sell them business coaching services. That's a mistake. 80 to 90% of coaches do that very thing. We don't want to do that. And you want to do it with great questions tied to content inside our system at Business Coach Mastery. We use a very cool method and a process, we have that content. And even though that will be the content that you're going to coach them on, we pull that content into the conversation of the prospect, and that's where we get into the nitty-gritty of helping them to think and understand and to process and to recognize why opportunity exists. All right? I hope that makes good sense to you. I hope that added value to you. If you've never thought about starting a business coaching practice, or perhaps you've already started and you need some additional resources and tools, you're just curious about what we do, you can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. There's information there to learn all about our process, our tools, our resources, the software that we use. Lots of good stuff. It's a full turnkey system and resources, and I think it could add value to you. Jump over there, grab that, go through it. I think that it's going to mean a lot to you, and we'll go from there. Until next time, take care.